Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to seed some leaf vegetables in potting mix in these cells so that you can start them before you put them outside in your garden. Now today we're going to seed some rhubarb Swiss chard, which is just like a thick stemmed red Swiss chard, and some radicchio, which is in the cabbage family. So, the first thing you want to do is collect all your materials. Now I have the seed cells here that I showed you before. I've got my tray that they're going to stay in. I've got my hood that I'm going to put on after to keep the humidity in after I seed them. And I have my potting mix material. Now, I'm using some potting mix material that I get in bulk from the garden center, but this is similar to something you'll want to get if you're going to get it at Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot, is seed starting potting mix. Now let's see if on the ingredients here, what it has. On the ingredients, it says 80 to 95% of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, some fertilizer, and wetting agent. Now I know that the stuff I use is made of sphagnum peat moss, bark from trees, wood, bark, perlite, and vermiculite. So it might be a little different for you, but that's the stuff you can get at the store. Now the first thing, you can see I have this tray here just so I don't make a mess on my table, and you can do that too if you want easy cleanup. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of here so I don't get a bunch of soil in that container. But I'm going to drop my soil into the seed cells. And now, whenever you drop your soil in, what I like to do is I like to fill it up almost to the top. And if there's any extra, I just push it off the edge. And what I do is I'll drop it if I have a big flat, or I'll just tap it to get all the dirt to settle, all the soil to settle, and to get all the air pockets out. You don't want to push it down because it's good to have some aeration, some air in the seed starting soil, but this kind of keeps some of those air pockets and allows the soil to settle a little bit. So you can see it went down about, an 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch, which gives us room to plant our seeds. Put a little bit more in this because we're going to plant very small seeds. Now, seed depth is important. Most seeds, you want to plant it be twice the depth of the seed, twice the width of the seed. Now I'm going to show you these radicchio seeds. They're very small. If you've ever heard the Bible verse that says, with faith as small as a mustard seed, a mustard seed is even smaller than these seeds, if you can see them here. So yeah, that'll give you some context there next time you hear that verse. Spilled some seeds there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 or 3 seeds because they're so small. I usually put 2 seeds if they're small like this in each cell. You want to spread them out around the middle of the seed cell. And if you have ever planted flower seeds, these are kind of like, they look like a flower seed. Now I'm putting 3 in each. Nope, that one got 4. Oh well. And when these come up, you're going to want to limit them to 1 per seed cell. Because you want one of the plants to be really strong instead of having 3 or 4 really weak plants. Now, what I'm going to do is cover the seeds very lightly, because remember we said we only want to have about twice the width of the seed. That's how deep you want to bury the seeds. So I'm kind of patting them down a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is show you how to make a very easy light waterer. Sorry for the delay, I forgot to get my water bottle from the recycling. So, I have a water bottle, a little thin cap, easy water bottle. Very simple. What you want to do is get a pen and poke a hole in the top of the water bottle. Now, when you do that, it'll create 1 stream. Sometimes I'll do 2 holes, but if you're only doing a small little 6 batch like this, you don't really need any more water than like 1 small stream. And now that I've put the seeds in, I can just water them very gently with this. It won't disrupt the soil too much, and it won't make the seeds fall down in the soil too far. Now, you can wet the soil before you put the seeds in, and that'll allow it to not move around so much, and I'm going to show you that with the next batch that I do with the Swiss chard. Now, one thing you're going to want to do is label these. You're definitely going to want to label your seedlings. And you can use popsicle sticks. I just have a bunch of these labels that I'm going to write on with Sharpie. I'm going to write the name of the vegetable that I'm planting, and I usually write the date on it so that I know when I planted it. So, there we go. Labeled and ready to be ready to start germinating. So now I'm gonna do my second batch of seed starts. For these, I've tapped the soil to kind of get them get it settled. Now I'm going to wet the soil first. Now I'd say that this is probably the better way to do it, just because you don't want your seeds when you water to get soaked down, I guess you'd say, or float down to the bottom, farther down in the soil. Especially if you're using lighter seeds. Heavier seeds, they probably won't do that. But I'm just showing you different ways to try it. And I've tried it a lot of different ways, and I continue to experiment with how I plant. So, we got these Swiss chard seeds, which are much bigger. And each Swiss chard, so Swiss chard is in the beet family, and Swiss chard is like a group in the beet family that was selected for their leaves. So they don't have big roots anymore, they just have big leaves that are tasty. They have a very nice minerally flavor. Like when I share it with kids at school, they say it's salty. I think it's salty. So you can see I'm just going to put one of these each, because in the beet family, unless you get a certain variety that was selected for single seed, each seed a lot of the times is a cluster of 2 or 3 seeds. So you might plant one seed and get multiple plants coming up. Now I'm going to just put one seed in each, cover them up with some soil, make sure the soil is kind of flat on top of them. It's actually good to use less soil if you're thinking like, oh, should I bury it? If you use just a little bit of soil, that is better than using a whole lot of soil, because that tiny plant has to make its way through that soil and break the soil to get light once it germinates. So as you can see, this isn't like a extremely difficult process. Probably the most difficult part is getting the materials. And waiting for them to come up. So I'm just going to label this. Rhubarb Swiss chard. It's not actually rhubarb, but I guess it looks like rhubarb. Okay. And now I'm going to put it in my container that it's going to live in until I plant it outside. One thing I wanted to show you is how to bottom water these, because my favorite method of watering is called bottom watering. I don't sprinkle the top after the seeds germinate and break soil, because the more you water on top, the more disease you can get, especially with peppers and tomatoes and things that will be in this tray for a long time. So what I do to bottom water is I'll take a water bottle or some kind of container. Even you can just bring it up to the sink. And what I'll do is I'll put water in the container, and you want it to be about half an inch or an inch in the container, so that the soil can soak up the water. And you're going to leave that for about 15 or 20 minutes. And then you're going to take the seed cells out and you're going to dump the water. And then you're going to put the seed cells back in, put the hood on, and wait for your seeds to germinate. Now, you don't have to water this every day, especially if you have a hood on it. I would check it, make sure the soil is at least moist on top, and if it is, you're good to go. Usually with leafy vegetables, they're going to germinate probably without you having to water it at all on top. If you overwater, it can make the seeds rot, so you don't want the soil to be soggy. So I would just keep an eye on it. You want this to be in a warm location. If your house is cold, because it's kind of a cold time of year still, try to find a warm place, like maybe if you have a closet that your hot water heater's in. A lot of people say on top of the fridge. I gauged the temperature on top of my fridge and it is not warm. So I would say put it somewhere that's warm, maybe in a south-facing windowsill. Usually those stay pretty warm. And when these germinate, you want them to get light. You want them to receive light. Now I have mine under a artificial light system that I use for microgreens and raising seedlings. But you can just put these in a windowsill. If it's warmer than, I would say during the daytime you can put them outside in the sun, and in the evening take them in as long as the temperature outside is 45 or I would say like 50 and up. As long as you have this hood. If you don't have a hood, you don't want to put them outside unless it's at least 50 degrees. 50 to 55 degrees, because they will get too cold and probably die. If you have any questions, you can send me a message or leave a comment. I hope you guys learned something here, and I'm going to start putting these on YouTube so that they're easier to access instead of going through Facebook. I'm going to put them on my YouTube channel that is for my farmers market and garden building company. It's called Growing Groceries PGH. I have a Facebook page. Go like that and follow it. And I'll be posting a lot of these videos on there just to get them off of my personal page, so that the people that don't really care to hear about gardening don't have to really. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.